Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. In July, I traveled to Silver Spring, London, Chantilly, and Cleveland. In my travels, I naturally interacted with many. An observation I made from my interactions were that many males, our devas, in their 40s, they're experiencing what they described as a midlife crisis. They're not finding meaning at home. They're not finding meaning at work. It was very shocking to me to listen to so many who were born in America, born outside of America and Canada. What I shared with them, they're lucky. They're lucky to have a midlife crisis. It's like a fire alarm. To have a fire alarm is a privilege, correct? And if that alarm goes off, one may feel unlucky, or you can have the narrative that you're lucky, that you have a system to guide you to safety. This crisis, this warning sign, is for us to be directed to Tat, the divine. Some of you may have already gone through your midlife crisis. Some of you will get to your midlife crisis. I experienced mine when I was around 22, 23 years old. And that's what directed me to Tat, to divinity. The only way for living not to be a crisis is if you're living for divinity. I assure you of this. And so Meaningful Morning is an incredible way to listen to this warning sign and to start to live for Tat. How does this all play out? In Bhagavad Gita's second section, chapters 7 through 12, this plays out through bhakti. An English word for bhakti is devotion. We throw this word around all the time. How does devotion play out? Chapter 7, internalization. Chapter 8, intensification. In chapter 8, a consistent teaching is one of, as you think, so you develop. Now, if you observe your life, do you think of Tat? Do you think of divinity while at school, while at home, while at work? If not, how is it logical or rational or practical that you will develop into divinity? And so zooming into this more, our lifestyle, why we go to school, are at home, work, etc., our lifestyle will decide unequivocally what our future will be. In this chapter particularly, Sri Krishna is bringing up the notion, it is just a notion, it is incidental, that of death. That if you lived in this way and you die, you will be reborn in the same way. And if one doesn't intentionally change how they're living, they will be reborn in the same way again and again and again. And so in this chapter, he shares incredible numbers about the relative creator's day and night and lifespan, how that is to be interpreted by us. It means forever. If one does not intentionally live for divinity, one will live in a dependent way forever. Day after day, week after week. It's like going through a midlife crisis, but never changing. You can't live in crisis mode all the time. It will kill you, physically, mentally. Offering more of a summary, especially the last few verses. There are some who live for patti. This is made up of two compounds, pad, ti, which means fortune. Some live for fortune. This is shared as the moon path. Those who are internalizing, intensifying, they don't live for patti, they live for sambatti. Not for fortune, but to feel fortunate. It is not external. They're zooming into their inner world. If you had a choice to go back to when you were 6 years old, when you became more conscious of who you were in grade 1, etc., would you choose to live for a fortune or to live to be fortunate? In the second last verse, verse 27, Sri Krishna shares bhava, practice. Practice what? To be yukta, engaged, immersed. In what? Yoga. Yoga is the means to tat, which is the end. And I shared with all of you a special teaching that is coming in the next chapter, where Sri Krishna shares with Prince Arjuna, yoga, kshemam, vahami aham. Yoga, that which you need to procure. Kshemam, that which you need to protect. Aham, as in Sri Krishna, vahami, this will be my responsibility. I will only take up that responsibility if you make me your responsibility. Shared in a most practical way, if you choose divinity, all of your functionality in life, particularly valuables, Sri Krishna will facilitate that for you. Why do you put such a burden on yourself to live for valuables when you can live for Sri Krishna and he'll do the work? That's incredible delegation. That's the most efficient and effective way to live. And a beautiful example of this from Srimad Bhagavatam is Kuchela, Sridama. He lived for Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna gave him all. our final verse of chapter 8. Verse 28. Vedeshu yagneshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chadyam. This is a very full verse. I'm going to cover this over 2 days, including the Sankalpa Vakya, focusing on the translation of the whole verse. Vedeshu, in the Veda. What is taught? Yagneshu, engage in yajna. Typically that means sacrifice. What should you do in a yajna? Tapasu, engage in tapa, which typically means burn things. And then what will happen? Daneshu. There will be a result. For us, that is food, correct? At the end of this and this and this, there is food. Yat punya palam pradishtam. This is declared, this is taught as the completion of Veda, Yajna, Tapa, Dana. This is what will happen. However, atyeti, beyond this, tat sarvamidam viditva, what is this? The one who knows these paths. The moon path, the sun path. The one who knows these paths and knows that there's more than these paths. Yogi, that seeker or practitioner, param sthanam upaiti chadyam, they will realize, they will rediscover, that's upaiti, param sthanam, their highest, deepest self. And the most beautiful word in this verse is adyam, which means the original, the source. These are the words translated one by one. It is being shared here. Typically, for the one who is more instinctive rather than intentional, their relationship with the Veda is one that is ritualistic. So what is taught in the Veda? Particularly the Karma Kanda, the portion that helps you be prosperous in the world. Not peaceful, only prosperous. Engages you in yajna, this yajna and that yajna, this chanting, that offering. Tapa, it means that you do have to burn things, that you have to offer things like coconuts and oil and so on. And there's dana, that too you have to give to the pujari, and then you get some black ash and so on and so forth. Living like this, there is punya. There is utility or benefit. However, this utility or benefit is similar, is comparable to these two paths. The moon path, the sun path. Anyone who lives instinctively, anyone who lives ritualistically, anyone who lives for the karma kanda only, it is like walking the moon and or sun path. Just the moon path, just the sun path, or some sort of combination. And if you walk these paths, if you follow this, you will be reborn again. And again, and again. if one has a relationship with the Veda, the trust triangle, not instinctively, rather intentionally. I'm going through this crisis. I need to change. Then, how does this verse unfold? The Veda guides one to the ends. What is our relationship with the Veda? Vedanta. We want an end. We want to feel complete. So the Veda shows us our purpose. Everyone's together right now? Then there's tapa. Tapa does mean to burn. Burn what? Burn one's wrong thinking. To burn engaging in the wrong ends, wrong means. So the Veda shows me the ends. Tapa is I have to sacrifice wrong thinking, the wrong means. Then yajna. Yajna means dedication. I have to be dedicated to right thinking, to the right means. That is an incredible sequence. Tapa, stop doing this. Yajna, start doing this. Then what will happen? Dana. Dana comes from dakshina. One will feel complete. One will feel grace-filled. So the dana then becomes, they smile more. They help others smile more. What's the point of prasada? Prasada means to that which delights. You get good halwa, you're delighted. You get bad chocolate, you're not delighted. But this is all being internalized, intensified. Final reflection for all. This verse, this chapter, is guiding us to not live for the moon path, to not live for and or the sun path, but to live for the beyond path. And what will you eventually find or reach or be? Adya, your source. From inspiration to application. Your recent application was to listen to the truths. Tired of waiting. How many of you listened to this? Did you like the song? Very thoughtful. My observation with this application is evolution is intentional. You can't wait for evolution. You have to act towards evolution. I was reading Shobha from Chantilly's reflection on our website, and what she's come to understand and appreciate that there's such a difference between how much she's earned in her life and how much she's offered in her life. Typically for us, it's because we're living instinctively. Now to live intentionally. Your application for today is, we've completed 28 verses of chapter 8. Which is your verse? Which of these verses is going to become your vision? Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.